Obviously, you and Taylor have some quite intimate scenes in the movie. What was the approach to that? I imagine there was an intimacy coordinator.
Yeah, I think it was always, and Matthew, was always sort of was involved in this. It was always about trying to create something that was within the tone of the movie, but that was honest as well, and that felt because I mean, very very much from Matthew's perspective, and I totally understand him now. He felt sort of gay sex often had not been portrayed accurately in cinema, and Matthew worked very closely with Taylor and I, and amazing intimacy coordinator Robbie, who I actually ended up working with again on Mary and George. So I have a very close relationship with my intimacy coordinator now. He's seen me do all sorts of things, but I think it was just also trying to break down the barriers between Taylor and I, getting us comfortable with each other, because these people they fall very in love, and but then at times their sort of appetite for each other is voracious and animalistic, and it's actually really interesting to see how different actors work, different intimacy coordinators work in creating palpable, honest intimacy on screen, because I think there's nothing worse when you see people who you don't feel are connecting,
right?
And so it was great. We had Matthew obviously coming from the theater. We had a couple of weeks rehearsal, and within that 2 weeks, we had some intimacy rehearsal sessions of Taylor and I connecting and saying what we were comfortable with and what we weren't comfortable with. And so Robbie was just, he's such he created such a safe space, I think, for us all to sort of try stuff and fail and see what felt comfortable and honest. And it's kind of crazy to me, really, that the intimacy coordinators weren't a thing, and also for me, it was speaking a language that I'm not fluent in as well. And I think I really wanted to understand it and deliver something that felt authentic. And again, Robbie and Matthew were just really helpful in that respect.
So when do you start shooting Red, White, and Royal Blue, the sequel?
I don't know. It's a funny one because
there's a whole life to be had after the movie ends.
I know. It's the sort of the question of sequels is always a scary thing nowadays. I think, what can you think of what the best sequel to a movie has been? Has the sequel ever been better than the original?
I know we were having this debate in the office the other day.
People argue Godfather 2, which is a classic, but I would argue Shrek 2 as well, just got to say. Incredible. I love your range, Godfather. Listen, Mark, this is what I bring to the table as a human and as an actor. It's range.
I want to see their life together. Do they live in Texas? Well, they'll probably have a house in Texas. Then I guess Kensington.
What you need to get together with Matthew already. It feels like you've already got it.
But then, of course, already I'm thinking, is Alex the Meghan Markle? Then, do you guys say, we're leaving England and we're going to move to Santa Barbara? And then you're going to do a memoir and you're going to sit down with, you, meaning Henry, is going to sit down with Oprah.
I love how thoroughly you've planned this out. If it's not Matthew, it's going to be Casey. You guys have got to get together. You've got to start brainstorming.
Well, I just love what they did with the Queen. Made the Queen a king, but it's a queen who plays the king.
It is.
I don't know. For some reason, I didn't know it. And when Stephen walked out, I just started howling.
He's what a brilliant human being, first of all. Right. He's a national treasure. A lot of people maybe outside of England might not know him, but he's a national treasure, and how attentive he was to everyone who was on set. people who were even there just for the day. He was asking everyone questions, and he's just this encyclopedia. I did, however, outsmart him on one occasion because there was this beautiful epic sculpture in one of the locations, and he was surmising that it might be, I think, some other Greek god. And knowing my Greek heritage, I said, well, actually, Stephen, that's the goddess Athena. And he goes, oh, do you think? And it was in fact right. So I can say that now on my deathbed, that I did have a piece of information that Stephen Fry did not, which, for people who don't know, I mean, Stephen Fry is the sort of expert on basically anything. I mean, he's the human encyclopedia. But no, he's fantastic as a person. He's fantastic in the movie. And of course, I got to work with my old pal Uma Thurman for the second time. So who's also great, playing a Southern president. But
Lyndon B. Johnson as Uma Thurman.
Yeah, that's right. But no, we had an excellent cast of fantastic actors. So it was just a joy. It was a joy to film that one.
So I know I can't keep you too much longer, but I do want to hit on Mary and George.
Yeah.
Explain to me, because I don't know the story that well, being the American.
Yeah.
Anything I read, it says your character seduces the king. But it's very,
among other people. It's
but what in the word seduce, I'm thinking sexual. So are you queer or fluid?
I mean, this character, I mean, it's, I think there was definitely this discussion, because I think like at a certain point, like I really want sort of queer voices, queer actors to, if I don't want to take up a space that I feel is better served someone else. But George Villiers, first Duke of Buckingham, he was a fluid man, and his sex was his power. And it was how he dominated people. It was how he pulled his family from the sort of edge of poverty and oblivion, really, in certain ways, into being one of the most powerful families in England. No family who were not of royal descent had risen as far as he took his family in over 100 years. I mean, no one had been made a duke outside of the monarchy in over 100 years. He was a young man who was known as being one of the sort of most able-bodied men in England, and his mother saw something in him. He was the second son. He was due to inherit nothing, and she saw something in him, and he went off to France to learn how to become this Renaissance man, this ingenue. And he came back with all of these realized skills, and from a sort of a acting perspective as an arc, I mean, he was a very sweet, sensitive, intelligent young man who kind of became the anti-hero of the 1600s. He practically sent England into bankruptcy with all of his failed naval adventures. And I mean, it's very much a tale of hubris in a lot of ways. I mean, he accumulated so much power within such a short period of time, and it was sleeping with kings, with queens of France. Very notably, he slept with the Queen of France, which was very unpopular. Spanish dignitaries, prostitutes. I mean, his maid, his housemaid, who kind of raised him, but. He's just probably the most textured character I've ever played, and I think really it's been really exciting. Sort of, I mean, Julianne Moore was someone was on my bucket list really for a long period of time. And actually, in a very crazy way, I was filming The Idea of You, and I was watching Still Alice, and I was thinking, God, I've fucking love to work with Julianne Moore. And the next day, my agents called me saying, Oliver Hermanus, fantastic director who did Living, who directed our first 3 episodes, wants to meet you for this role. And so it was a weird, really weird sort of cosmic turn of events. But it's an edgy show. It's shot in a beautiful, beautiful way. The cast is incredible, really, really incredible. And I'm really excited for people to see it. I mean, Julie's unreal. I mean, she's brilliant in everything. But I think I gained an appreciation for someone like that in a much more real way. You understand why they've had a career as long as they've had them. And working with, 2 Oscar winners in a row. I mean, Annie is so emotionally fluent. She has this well of emotion that's kind of constantly, she's sort of controlling, and the way it pours out of her at times, I mean, it's honestly stunning to watch. And Julie, she's one of the most technical actors I've ever seen. It's so incredible, the language in which she understands, if I move my body in a slight way, the power shift of a scene can become entirely different. And I don't quite know how I got here, to be honest, Mark. I'm still feeling like my luck's about to run out. But I mean, just to be able to witness it and try and learn from it has been such a joy. And I think now being able to reflect on that has been has been very surreal, but a lot of fun.
Did you break your ankle or your foot? I can't remember what you said, but was it from wearing the heels of the costume drama?
It actually was.
I knew it.
I don't have a lot of experience in heels, unfortunately, but I was doing a stunt, and I'm very gung-ho with my stunts, but I'd done the stunt at the scene, and I actually just had to sort of run off out of camera shot. And these old buildings that we shoot in, oftentimes because they're so old, the grip on the floor is non-existent. And in the shoe, the heel slipped to the side and my sort of ankle went a full 90 degrees. But crazily enough, I was in the next day doing stunts, in 2 days later doing a dance on it. And we didn't really know what was wrong with it. And it's not the fault of the production necessarily. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but it was, it was of 108 days. I was there 100 days. It was like the sort of first time I think I've really had to sort of out and out lead a project like that. And there was just no time for rest. And it's, just speaking as we were at the beginning of this conversation, it was, I think I feel this come down finally, because it was just, as you said, adrenaline. You've just got to keep it. You've got to keep it going. And I think, George was such a textured person that the Royal demanded me to be able to, like I said, ride horses, fence, speak in French, which I don't know how to do, and sleep with 14 different characters in the show, which was also an experience, but a joy. I'm very, very lucky. But yeah.
And my last question for you, and then I'm going to let you go. Purple Hearts. When will we see the sequel everybody wants? That sequel too.
You're just pitching for all these
because you do great stuff.
Look, I think it's obviously like an interesting time with the strike right now, and we want to do everything by the book. I think there's a lot of people who are very interested in that. I try and let nature kind of take its course with these projects. If there's people clamoring for it, it's obviously something I'll always consider. And I think really for now, I've just been blown away by the incredible filmmakers and actors and writers and producers who I've been able to kind of connect with, and it's just honestly I just feel so happy and lucky to be. Because I think as actors, we really kind of fight for this point and this momentum in our career, and I'm really just enjoying learning and getting challenged and scared, and so we'll see what happens, but we all remain quietly optimistic.
Nick, this was amazing.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear you singing as the non-Harry Styles.
Listen, you might become a big fan of Hayes Campbell, because I will say we work with the best of the best in that music industry, and the music is very catchy. I will say that much.
Nicholas on tour.
Exactly. Maybe.
Forget about, you don't even have to say your full name. I think you're just going to go by Nick, just Nicholas. Like Cher and Madonna.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like slightly less punchy than Cher or Madonna, but we'll take it. Thank you, Marc. I always appreciate talking to you.
Nick, this is awesome. And hopefully things work out in this town. And the next time we see each other, it'll be in person, because I know a lot of your fan sites love to keep reposting the photo of me and you meeting.
They do, but this is how you know that joy. There was genuine joy in seeing you, because I can't help but smile with my entire face when I saw you, and I wasn't expecting to see you. So yeah. I hope we get to do it again in person when the industry is sort of at peace again. But lovely chatting.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
All right. See you soon.
Take
Marc.
care. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.